Good morning, children. Now, today I'm going to send you a video on Vedic civilization part 3. We have already done later Vedic age and we have done the political life of the people during the later Vedic age. Now, today we are going, after the political life, we are going to do the life of the people during later Vedic age. Now, what were the occupations at that time? Occupation means the work. Now, agriculture remained the chief means of livelihood. Livelihood means a way of getting your means of living. Way of getting your means of living. So, agriculture was the main source of livelihood, and around 1000 BC, the Vedic people learned to use iron. And the use of iron produced better weapons and heavier agricultural implements and like iron plows. And the Aryans referred to iron as sham ayas, that is black metal. So iron came into prominence at that time, and the people, they made better agricultural tools, implements and weapons with the use of iron during the later Vedic age. The later Vedic period saw improvement in craft also, like weaving, leatherworking, pottery making, carpentry and jewelry making. Apart from agriculture, in the later Vedic age, the people also became very good craftsmen, and they were good in pottery making and in weaving and in leatherworking and jewelry making. Now, the amusements at that time, how did the people amuse themselves? How did they entertain themselves? Early Vedic amusements like dancing, singing, racing and gambling were still popular. Now, during the early Vedic age also, the people used to enjoy themselves. They used to entertain themselves with dancing, singing, racing and gambling, and all these were still popular during the later Vedic age also. Now, what kind of a social life did the later Vedic people have? The social life is the family life. The power of the male head of the family increased and male ancestors came to be worshipped. As we read in the early Vedic age also, it was a patriarchal system. So same way in the later Vedic age, the position of the male increased and he became more powerful, and male ancestors are the great-grandfathers. Okay, the great-grandfathers belonging to the family, they came to be worshipped. Now, what was the position of the women? Women were treated well and their presence was essential in religious ceremonies. They were treated well. Women of the upper class even received education, but in general, women were considered to be inferior to men and occupied a low position in society. Royal class ladies, they got education, yes, and women were treated well during the later Vedic time, but still they were considered inferior to men in society. Now, social division. With increasing emphasis on rituals and sacrifices, the Brahmins came to occupy a very high position in society. The Kshatriyas on many occasions, Kshatriyas are the warrior class, on many occasions tried to assert their superiority over the Brahmins. The Kshatriyas, they tried to assert their superiority over the Brahmins. Assert means to take a firm position. In course of time, the Brahmins and Kshatriyas cooperated in the ruling society. Brahmins and Kshatriyas both cooperated in the ruling society, and towards the end of the later Vedic period, that is towards the end of the later Vedic period, many Vaishyas who were originally farmers, Vaishyas is the business class, who were originally farmers, shifted their occupation to trade and crafts. So many Vaishyas and who were originally farmers, in the beginning they were farmers, they shifted their occupation to trade and crafts from agriculture. The Shudras were now engaged in the cultivation of land and also in menial jobs. Menial is small jobs. Shudra is the fourth class of the society. They were deprived of many of the privileges and enjoyed by the upper caste. Many of the privileges which were enjoyed by the upper caste, the Shudras were deprived of them. Now, privilege is a special right or advantage for a particular person or a group. Yes, privilege means a special right or advantage for a special person or a particular group. So the Shudras, they were denied all these privileges. By the end of the later Vedic period, the caste system had become rigid. Rigid means very strict, and hereditary means that if a person belonged to a farmer's family, he had to be a farmer. Okay, it was his hereditary occupation. New subcastes emerged as new occupations came into existence. As new occupations came into existence, so new subcastes, they emerged, they came into prominence. The four stages of life. The Aryan man's life was divided into four stages. During the later Vedic period, a person's life was divided into four stages called the four ashrams. These were brahmacharya, that is student life, then grihast, family life, vanapras, retirement to the forest to meditate, and sannyas, complete retirement. Going through these ashrams was thought to be the best way to live in one's life. But this was not rigidly followed, but everyone did not follow it very rigidly, very strictly. But otherwise, during the later Vedic period, this was a big change, that the life was divided into four stages or four ashrams. Now, the religion during the later Vedic age. The early Vedic gods, that is Indra, Varun and Agni, lost their importance. We read in the early Vedic age that the people, they were nature worshippers. So same way in the early Vedic gods, that is Indra, Varun and Agni, they lost their importance. They were replaced by the trinity of gods. Trinity of gods was Prajapati, Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. Hinduism as it exists today began to take shape in this period. What the gods which were worshipped during the later Vedic age, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, they are worshipped till date, and that is why Hinduism as it is, it has taken shape from the later Vedic age. Sacrifices, they assumed great importance, and religious worship became very complex. Now, during the later Vedic time, the sacrifices and rituals, they were gaining more importance, and the religion was becoming very complex, very complicated, and very difficult for the common man to follow, and too expensive. So these were the changes during the later Vedic age. Now children, in the fourth part of the video, I will be doing education and literature of the later Vedic age. So please go through this video and try to understand the chapter. Thank you. Bye bye and have a nice day.